Hello, Springfield College AmeriCorps members. This is Alicia Sierra. I am back from my maternity leave here to present this month's training. And yes, it is recorded, so it can be flexible in terms of when you put this on your timesheet. There is a way that we are verifying what day you're putting this on, and it will follow the day you actually submit our training form. So everyone's receiving an email and you're receiving three links. One is a Google Doc that you're going to fill out after you view this video and a second interviewing skills video. Now, our Google form is super simple. You could get through this within an hour, but we've allowed that everyone can claim an hour and a half, 1.5 hours on their timesheet after viewing both videos and completing this form. Just wanted to make sure everyone's on the same page. Now, on to our training. Today, our monthly training is going to focus on interviewing, but of course, we have our updates. This month's updates, with the help of course, Anna Mojica and our awesome program coordinator as well, Sarah. We've come up with, our future trainings and events. April 21st is our following training. Remember, that is in person, and that is preparing each member on how to say goodbye to their cohort. We understand that goodbye will be in June for all of us. However, you should be planning now. And how does that look like? What should you be planning? Exactly, like what should the lessons planned be for your small groups or your one-on-ones? April 21st is really the training that you should be at. The presenter is TBA, but we're looking at someone either in the social work or the mental health field. May 19th will also be, that one will be recorded, and it's all about life after AmeriCorps and the Education Award. A lot of you have had questions on the Education Award, and that training will be a hybrid of PDFs that detail how to utilize your Education Award, resources for that, and also a video that explains it. Normally, the Education Award video is someone that is not in our organization who specializes in just that, the Education Award. And that's something important to view because the Education Award does not come from our college. It does not come from AmeriCorps State of Massachusetts. It's a federally designated line item. So it's good to be aware of exactly where your money's coming from, how you can use it, and through what portal. And that's in May. Normally, Education Award, once you accrue all of your hours, again, if you're short 1 hour, you don't receive that. Normally, members have received it in July. So if you're taking a summer class and it starts in June and you're wondering if you can use the Education Award, that's between you and financial aid to let them know that you're expecting your Education Award. And sometimes we've seen Education Award to be split in two different payments. So take into account that it might not be one lump sum. But that's between you, financial aid. A lot of times they've worked with Education Award, so they understand this, and they are the best people that can help you, along with the federal government and the website and the resources we provide you. Now, we also want everyone to save the date. Our annual recognition luncheon will be happening. We do invite site supervisors and members to come together to celebrate you. At the end of the day, it is your hard work. It is your opportunity to relax. The luncheon is anticipated to be in downtown Springfield and Osteria. Again, we are trying to figure out some of the logistics and also meeting everyone's dietary needs. And the last day of service is June 15th. Again, depending on when you normally serve, some of you only serve Monday through Wednesday. So reflect on that date, but that is our final week. An item of discussion is data collecting. Please note, we are expecting that there is a week off that many of you are taking because the schools are closed in April. We still anticipate you to pre-fill out your data collection um, spreadsheet as follows. If you see the top left corner here, it's 0 minutes, and one of them is either member did not serve or school was closed. Please just fill that out so that way we have it on record that was school was closed, or for some of you who are taking this week off of spring break, member did not serve, so we can reflect that accurate information. Now, some of you have also asked, what's the point of all this? And honestly, that's fair to ask. What's the point? Is that we do take how many minutes and how you supported a student, and then we pull their information with the city that they reside in and see if there's a correlation between does a student have a change in either their academic behavior or their coursework, if they were serviced consistently in a small group or one-on-one. We try to see if there's a difference between small groups and one-on-one. We try to see if there's a difference between members who served 30 minutes or an hour to that individual student for the course of the year with any of either coursework behavior or attendance. We're trying to see if there's any sort of correlation with a student's change of, uh, just going to school, being at school, and producing grades. Now, we do reflect that data back to them. Like we reach out to Yolanda Johnson. That's probably our main point of contact for the city of Springfield to let her know what the impact of our members. It is part of our contract that we reflect back on what our members have done, how long their impact was, and what type of support, and if there is a correlation beyond that support with the students, either again coursework, attendance, or behavior. And we do expect every week to have some sort of data being collected. Now, if you look on the bottom left corner, you're going to see that it does range from some students are 0 minutes. They might not have been at school. There are days that you don't come in at all. We understand. Just reflect that, fill that in. Do not leave a blank because we're not double. If you want us to double check if you were in that day or you were out, if you sent us an email, you were out for whatever reason, we're not going back and forth. You submit fully and completely the spreadsheet of that week. Does not take that long. If it takes you a long time because you're trying to remember what you've done, that goes back on how you're meeting with students and how you're documenting that. There's a way to embed it where you're documenting how long it was and with what student. At the end of the day, this is the autonomous part of your role that we don't micromanage, which is awesome, but you have to take the accountability on how you're going to track that in the course of a week. And just one last note is that please, if you have questions, email the AmeriCorps email. Don't use Sarah's personal email. Sarah is also a student, and we purposely continue to use the AmeriCorps email when like troubleshooting anyone's comments or questions. Sarah is also a student. We want to make sure that her email is used just for her being a student, and then when she's helping in the office, that is just stays AmeriCorps. We appreciate your help with that. Now with service projects, remember the deadline's coming close in terms of when everything needs to be submitted. I believe it's 1 month from today. Now, if you have any questions, please reach out to us. We did send out the evaluation form that needs to be completed at the end. Please take photos and please remember to wear your AmeriCorps gear. I know a lot of us are doing hybrid where this is also your internship and you're representing a college. that you're attending, but you're also representing AmeriCorps. And specifically, we need to see you in your gear. I know some of you have had lanyards on that has the AmeriCorps logo. That's wonderful. But at this point in time, we haven't seen some of the photos that have come in. We love, by the way. Awesome. But we haven't even seen the lanyard on, and that's not compliant. You are to represent yourself as AmeriCorps since you are accepting the stipend. Now, we also have good news that our applications for the following program year, 25-26 year, is open. Every member, even though you are enrolled in this year, would have to reapply. It's part of like the fair, equitable initiative that AmeriCorps wants, that everyone still has to go through the same process. No, you do not need to redo your background checks for Springfield or Holyoke Public Schools in our program. But what we say is please apply sooner than later, because we did open up a waiting list this past year. We want to make sure that anyone that's returning pretty much has the right of way with like site placement and supervisor and just being in our program as a whole. So the sooner the better. And actually, since we're discussing this, I will make sure that the link is in the email that we send out for everyone viewing this. And also a refresher, training opportunities, what counts? Trainings need to be approved by AmeriCorps staff. We really appreciate everyone who has been very on top of their game this entire year. Anna and Sarah both mentioned that your academic professors have reached out, showing proof that you've attended certain conferences or trainings held by your respective schools. Continue to do that. And for those that have special trainings or trainings that your school's providing that has reached out in advance, again, please do that. We need to first ensure that it meets our requirements. And also with that, from your total hours that you're contracted in AmeriCorps, so if you're 900 or 450, 20% of your total hours can be training. After that, you could do more. You could keep tracking on your timesheet. Only 20% of that will count, 20% of your total hours. And the rest would have to be service in order for your education award to be granted, for you to be eligible for that. If 50% of your time of the 450 or 900 hours is training, you will not be eligible for your education award. So please take that into account. If you feel like you might be going over that 80-20 rule, please give us a call. We want to make sure everyone receives their education award, since pretty much everyone's a student here. Now, things do pop up in these last few months. If you have to leave the program for whatever reason, please don't melt down. We're here to help. Things do happen. We are asking, though, that the first step occurs via email on when your anticipated last day would be. We are, as a courtesy, asking for a month's notice. Why? Not to hold you down or anything like that. But there are things that we ask from you to do, like an end of year survey, an exit assessment, an interview, your data collection, and your timesheets. Occasionally, as you know, for timesheets, the exit interview, it takes our supervisors some time to follow up. That's what we're asking for those 30 days. Give them some time to coordinate in their schedule to do a sit down and have a proper exit. Now, doesn't mean if you achieved all of your contracted hours that you can just immediately, effectively stop serving. No. Yes, you can. This actually has been a question. You can go over your 900 and your 450 hour contracts. What does that mean? Your service is not terminated after you achieve your hours. You can actually go over your hours, and it's actually better to do that, especially if you're cutting it close with the 80-20 rule. Um, so contract ends June 15th. If you are to leave a month early, you are forfeiting your last month of your stipend. And that is in your contract. If you want to go back to review, if you leave a month early, you're only um, each stipend is based off of serving in that month. If you do not serve your last month, we cannot provide you a stipend. Same thing on why we've always said you have to submit your timesheet. We have to show that you've served in that month. Just to take that into account if you happen to leave early. So with that, the first step is always in an email. And again, even if you have to leave a week early, there are items that need to be completed. Just please let us know. Communicate. Now, I'm just providing some helpful tips that we've seen with interviews. These are some items that are not in the video that we're having you watch after. Um, these are supplemental items. It will be in your Google form that we're having you fill out just to verify that you've watched this video and the secondary video that's really focused on interviewing. So with that, these are 10 helpful tips. After this video, please view the YouTube video focused on interviewing and complete the Google form. Once you hit submit, that is your timestamp proving that you've done our training, and you can claim 1.5 hours. All right. 10 job interview tips. I've seen this happen. I'm giving you my helpful tips. This does not overlap in the video, okay? Tip one, especially for those that are graduating and you're honestly probably in the hunt right now for a full-time job. Be enthusiastic. People hire people, not bullet points on paper. I have been told this time and time again, as well as I've been told that I also fall flat on my interviews. That is not a insult. It's honest, and sometimes we need to hear it. Your bullet points on your interview, on your resume, is probably what has opened up the door for you to be interviewed. But they're hiring you. How do you fit in the team? So they want to know, can you laugh? Can you make a joke? Or and are you excited for this role, this job that you're applying for? Tip two, do not be afraid to use I when referring to your skills and experiences. Own it. Some of you have mentioned that you haven't gotten as much experience in X, Y, and Z. You've been introduced to certain IEPs, FAB forms, if I'm saying that correctly. Own it though. Own it that yes, yes, you are aware what FABs, you are aware of IEPs, you've talked to parents. Yes, say, I have talked to parents, a wide set. I have talked to parents utilizing an interpreter. Own it. Now, talk about your accomplishments and be very specific about that. A lot of times it's not just, yes, I have experience working with kids. It's, I've had a 10-month internship, practicum, AmeriCorps experience in a school whose population was, X, Y, and Z, whose needs were X, Y, and Z. Be specific on who you've served, what type of needs you've assisted in, and the skills you've grown in, and the interactions you've had with staff. Be really specific because again, sometimes the job posting might not say that the school has a 50% of its student population with IEPs. But if that's what you're mentioning, IEPs, having peer engagement meetings, following up with different language, um, with interpreters, Spanish speaking families, families that might be like immigration status families, you never know if that actually overlaps with something they're looking for that they did not write. And this is kind of a given that your online footprint is checked. Yes, we Google applicants and they will Google you too. Now, if you don't care, by all means, don't care. But if there is, whether it's before the interview or after, you don't have to care. But they don't have to call you back. It's a two-way street. Um, and if you have doubt that maybe something you posted shouldn't be there, you have the right to take it off. You can make that decision, just like they can make the decision that you could be a good fit or not a good fit for their team. And they could determine your fit based off of what you are putting out there, of like how you represent yourself. And also, doing videos, especially if you're going for youth-based programs, schools, or any sort of clinical work that's with kids. If you're acting like a kid online, that's not who they're hiring. They serve that population they don't want to hire. Tip number 5 that some of you have seen uh, is that you don't badmouth a former employer or people you've worked with, served with. People, it's a small community, even though it looks like a big city. People know people. People used to work in other offices outside the public school, outside of the school district. So you never know who knows who. Always be neutral. Always be positive of what you've done. Because at the end of the day, even if you've had a bad experience, there's things you could learn from. Um, and so at the end of the day, that's a positive thing that you know your work ethic, you know the community you want to work in because of what you've gone through. And number 6, practice storytelling. This is a bit difficult and it could be its own hour-long discussion, which it won't be today. But as you're looking at how to tie in point 3 of your accomplishments, storytelling provides like the imagery in words to that person interviewing you of how you work in a team, how you've gone from not having any experience and then within these 10 months of serving has become a mini expert in your field. Again, at the end of these 10 months, for those who haven't ever been in a school system, you know more than me. I happen to be a program director, but you know more than me. You've been in the field. You've experienced some staff issues in the schools. You you have that experience, and playing it in a story, creating the setting that you've been in and how you've accomplished or you've gained knowledge. How do you explain that? That is where you should practice that. Now, I feel like I'm not providing a good example of storytelling, but I'm telling you how to practice storytelling. There is more information on it. Do I go into an example right now? No. I can provide you more information if needed. And in the email, I'll provide a link about storytelling. It is helpful, and it does help distinguish you from other people. And something that, again, because it's something that we've seen in interviewing members and also myself from feedback is talk slowly and clearly. The clearly part is something that I admit I have struggles with just because of my pronouncing words, and that's okay. It helps when you practice, pre-practice answering questions. In the following video, um, it provides like analogies on like how to remember how to answer certain questions, and that helps. The practice helps make sure that you can accomplish tip 7. And this is something I've seen. Please dress appropriately. Remember, you've been in the schools, you've seen the leggings and the sweatpants and the messy hair, but those are already hired. They already are hired in that position. You want to be in the school. Dress for what you want, um, not what you've seen. And know what's in your background if you're on Zoom. You can just blur it out. If you can't get, if there's not a clean spot in the place that you're living in, just blur your background. Always thank the interviewer. You'll be surprised that a thank you goes a long way. Personally, from the interviews that we've done, it's really nice to have a thank you. And tip 10, the reason why I put this one last and not the thank you is because you thank them, you lay down in your bed, you're mulling it over in your head, and honestly, it's a two-way street. If it doesn't jive with you, something doesn't sit well with you, if how they describe the school or the place of employment, you don't like that work ethic, the mindset that they have, don't move forward. You are going to feel pressured. It is spring, especially for those that are graduating, that you're seeing people around you have full-time jobs. Do not commit to the first job that offers you a salary, um, that you feel that does not fit with you, that you're not going to be set up to succeed. Because if you saw all the Glassdoor reviews that people are talking about burnout, 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 and you know you get easily overwhelmed. Don't set yourself up to fail. And with that, that is the 10 tips for interviewing. Please view the second video and complete your Google form. All right.